Hi, this is the evaluation of the orderIT trading system for January the 8th, 2021. We had 6 trades on that day, 2 were buys and 4 were short sells. First trade was BBD, Banco Bradesco SA. It tripped at 11:25:07 a.m. at a price of 5.18. It was a buy trade. It closed the day at 5.11, actually down 1.35%, and 11:25, yeah, it tripped right at its peak and then dropped. So there's no buy opportunity there, obviously. We'll see if there's a possible. OBV showing pretty much what it did. It was moving up a bit in the morning, then dropped in the afternoon. It made a bit of recovery in the late afternoon, so that's a good thing. MACD showing that it came up, then dropped, and then recovered in the afternoon. So MACD showing probably more positive than negative, which is good. Unfortunately, DI is showing the opposite. DI is actually showing more negative than positive. See, look. Well, roughly around the same amount of time, but it looks like it was staying negative more than it was. It did. The DI was showing that it was moving upwards at the end of the day, but it was still negative. And Bollinger Band making that recovery. I'm going to say possible because it was coming up. Everything indicator-wise showing at the end of the day was coming up. Some of it, very good amount positive, and the day was moving up. All the indicators are showing that at the end of the day it was moving up. I'll put it as a positive. It's not a strong positive, but I'm going to consider it positive just because of the fact that the reverses seem to be happening, and again, the indicators were not overly negative in general. It was pretty much an up and down or down and up type of a scenario. Next trade is FLEX, that's Flex Limited. It tripped at 12:10:32 p.m. at a price of 19.04. It was a short sell. It closed the day at 18.97, down 1.51%, so that's a positive trade. Positive in the sense that you could have made money on a short sell of that trade. And the indicators, OBV pretty much showing downwards, down in the morning, and after moving sideways. MACD showing the same thing, down. Did make a bit of recovery though, MACD wise, and moved sideways. DI same thing, down in the morning and somewhat moving sideways again in the afternoon in this recovery that we made. Bollinger Band though didn't show that it was a major rise. It basically just stabilized. So it came down and stabilized in the afternoon. Next trade is CL. That's Colgate Palmolive Company. It tripped at 12:54 p.m. at a price of 81.89. It was a short sell, and it actually closed the day at 82.35, up 0.67%. So we'll see if we actually had any opportunity there. 12:50, right around this time. 12:56, 81.85. It was down there. It came out of those. We got maybe about a minute there. 81.80. Yeah. It's shorted out because of this drop here, but the stock itself basically showed a recovery after that point and it moved sideways. Indicators 12:50, 12:54, let's just look at that, 12:54. Yeah, OBV is pretty much moving sideways and then up for the end of the day. MACD though showing that drop. It was a fairly heavy drop MACD wise and then recovers. DI, yeah, DI is showing that it was down. It looked like it was coming down fairly strongly and then recovered. Bollinger Band, it came down a bit and then recovered. There's no opportunity here, and this stock is not showing that it will be moving negative afterwards. It looked like maybe end of day closing that it may have been reversing again, but I wouldn't consider that strong enough. The indicators themselves across the board are showing more positive than negative, and not giving an indication of that. This could be actually another stock to evaluate to determine, if it should have been tripped. As you can see, MACD and DI were moving in the direction. OBV not so much. OBV will probably maybe do some evaluation on OBV to see if that can be cleaned up about its evaluation process. Next trade is ERJ. That's Embraer SA. It tripped at 1:40:18 p.m. at a price of 643. It was a short sell. It closed the day at 656. It was down 0.91%, so it was moving down. 140. Look, we got another one of these things here where it reversed or came down, and recovered. So that's also another trade that's not showing strong downward movement after it tripped. Here's an interesting thing, 140, OBV showing it's dropping, MACD is showing it's dropping, DI showing it's dropping, and it just happened to be at that point it made a recovery. So Bollinger Band showing again, yeah, it was coming down, pretty much coming down, that's where it tripped, and just recovered. There's no indication of potentially positive activity on that one. It just happened to be that the stock itself, it dropped and then recovered. It's the only thing you can say about that stock. It's nothing more about it. Next trade is JKS, Jinko Solar Holdings Company. It tripped at 1:40:05 p.m. It tripped at 65.79 at a short sell. It closed the day at 66.40, down 8.17%, so it was down a good amount. That, yeah, 45. Let's see down here. 65.68, 65.58, 40 again, down. There's a good half an hour here where it was moving below its tripping price. You can see it was technically moving sideways, but there's a section here where it was moving sideways. I'll consider that a positive trade just because there's an opportunity there, but as you can see, the stock itself, it looked like at that point it was dropping. The stock itself is down quite a bit over previous close, so it was a downward trend. We'll take a look at the indicators. OBV, yeah. OBV is actually showing a recovery. MACD showing that drop, which is an indication of obviously that stock, and that recovery at the end of the day. It's a recovery at the end of the day that's making this somewhat a difficult trade, obviously, if it didn't move below its tripping price. DI, same thing. DI was showing tripping and then making that recovery. Bollinger Band, everything's showing the same thing. It just happened to be that there was a point where it was below its tripping price, which made the stock positive. But the stock itself, at the end of the day, was showing that it was reversing, moving positive. So another tricky trade. Next trade is GM, and that is General Motors Company. It tripped at 2:30:01 p.m. at a price of $42.92. It was a buy trade, and it closed the day at 43.06, but it actually was down 0.6. So the stock was down from previous close, but it happened to rise above its previous. So that's a positive trade. Excuse me. And OBV, not much. It showed a little bit of movement down and up a little bit, but somewhat sideways almost OBV-wise. MACD shows that drop that happened in the morning and that recovery that happened in the afternoon. So we happen to catch this one on the other side because the other stocks that we missed, we were catching at their level point or at their high-low point, and then basically recovering after that. And this one here, same type of thing, but we happen to catch it at its recovery point. DI, same thing. Well, DI actually showing more positive than negative, so the stock itself, the DI-wise, is showing positive. Interestingly, DI is showing that the stock was, for the most part, moving in a positive direction, but Bollinger Band shows that it was moving down. So DI, while it's showing positive direction, Bollinger Band showing negative stock price movement. So that's interesting. It didn't recover till the afternoon, which is where it dropped again into a negative, where it was at the low point of its Bollinger Band and recovered. Very interesting. Anyways, that would have been a positive stock. So that in general, positive-wise, we have 3 out of 6, so that's 50%. But possible percent, we actually have 5 out of 6, so 5 divided by 6. So that's 83%. So the actual absolute, positive trades that could have been made, only 50%. Not good, not not terrible, but not good either. But the possible trades, that's obviously trades that including stocks that didn't have possibility of trading positive on that day, are showing that most likely they're going to be moving in a direction that will make them positive on the day after, which is what the possible trades are an indicator for. And that's around 83%. So I'd say there's potentially 83% positive trades on this one. So technically that's good. So overall, very interesting day. Again, it looks like there may be requirements of more evaluation, but again, it's a process that's continuing on any kind of evaluation activity. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.